Hi there. Happy Monday. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist TJ Springer here in the Storm Center for Fox 35 Weather Plus. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. It was a warm one. It was great to get outdoors. If you did, hopefully you had a great time. A lot of fun events going on across the area. Myself and Noah were just talking about Light Up Mount Dora. I know that's such a big event across the area and one that so many people travel out to. And of course, now the big story is Thanksgiving. I don't know about you. It's hard to believe that Thanksgiving is already here, or just about anyway. And this year has just been a whirlwind. I feel like that's going to be the case. Is we're going to hit Thanksgiving, then it's going to be the holidays, and then 2026. Where did 2025 go? Well, you'll have to let us know where you're watching from. Our question of the day, of course, because it is just about to be Thanksgiving, it is Turkey Day related. So let's weigh in on that here, shall we? If you want to let us know what you're doing on Thanksgiving. Do you usually cook? Are you going out for Thanksgiving? I feel like this is such a polarizing question because, I'm trying to think in my years, have I ever gone out on Thanksgiving? I feel like I have. But sometimes when you think about it, I feel like that's been a big story all season long. It's certainly not cheap to get food on the table for a big holiday, especially if you have a lot of friends or family coming over for said holiday. So maybe going out could be one of those things that's a little cheaper, or hey, you just don't want to do the dishes. You can just have an amazing culinary experience, have maybe a chef make Thanksgiving dinner, and you can call it good, right? Yeah, last year I cooked, the year before I cooked. This year, still up in the air. Might be cooking myself for us, or might be at some families. So we'll have to see what happens there. But we'll definitely keep checking back in on our question of the day throughout the next half hour. Again, if you're just joining us, you've never caught this half hour of Fox 35 Weather Plus before. This is a daily show that we do Monday through Friday, right here at 3 o'clock. Myself, Noah, Laurel, Brooks, Jess, and we're not live on just Facebook and YouTube. We're also live on Fox Local. So if you want to join in the conversation and you don't want to miss out on any fun in the conversation or content for that matter, you can kind of simulcast us on your phone or your smart device, because there are no commercial breaks there. But we do have to take our 2-minute commercial breaks on Fox Local. Now, of course, many of you could be traveling for Thanksgiving weeks. Let's talk a little bit about our travel, not just here locally, but across the nation. Right now, things are quiet. This is a live look from our Girls Lakeside cam over Lake Fairview. Some clouds. We have that onshore flow in the wake of yesterday's cold front. And yesterday, if you're out and about, you may have caught a quick downpour as that front swung through central Florida. It wasn't strong, and we really didn't tap into much cooler of an air mass, but it did bring some downpours and a couple of showers out there yesterday evening. Now that front has gone through, it is a little less humid. That's one positive, right? Looks nice, great for the theme parks. Maybe you're here vacationing. You're here in central Florida for Thanksgiving week. Not a bad place to be at all. Notice you can see some of the fun at Icon Park, the Star Screamer going up the Slingshot. Tell you what, you wouldn't catch me yet on the Slingshot, or probably the Star Screamer. I'd be feeling real sick, but you can see the Universal Orlando skyline off in the foreground there as well. I'm sure a packed place to be, whether it be Universal, SeaWorld, or Disney. Lots of fun. And if you're one of the people hitting up the parks, hopefully you have a wonderful time, whether that be on Thanksgiving or throughout the week ahead. Here's the big picture right now. There's that front, but notice there's another storm system out to our northwest, and we're going to be watching this system eventually move our way and bring us the potential for a little bit of rain. Not a great chance of rain, even though we certainly could use it, despite the flooding conditions that we have had for some parts of Central Florida over the last couple months. Hi, William. Hey, Phyllis. How are you? Alec, what's up? Thanks for hopping on. Hey, you know what? I'm hoping the Ravens can win on Thanksgiving. They barely beat the Jets yesterday, but can only hope for a Thanksgiving win on Thursday. Phyllis, you're saying no cooking in my house this year. Hey, I don't blame you. You know, thanks. I had never cooked a turkey before, and I was worried it was going to turn out dry. I was worried it wasn't going to taste good, but I found this recipe. I kind of tweaked it up a little bit myself, and tell you what, it was moist. It was delicious, and I felt like we had leftovers for days, which I was I was a happy camper in that regard. Seeing some rain right now, some severe weather. We've actually had some tornado warnings across portions of Texas. You can see one right now north of Houston as this system is working eastbound. And you can see the warm front leading the charge. Upstairs in the atmosphere, we're starting to ridge, so temperature is going to stay above normal as we get closer and closer to Turkey Day itself. You can see a couple of sprinkles offshore right now, locally speaking, on Fox 35 Storm Tracker radar, but really not a great chance. I only had about a 10% chance for a sprinkle in the forecast today, a little less than even what we had yesterday. But don't be shocked if we squeak out a couple of raindrops, especially west of the Orlando metro through the remainder of our day. Now, temperatures, you can see, this is what I was talking about. We did not get into any cooler of an air mass behind that cold front. It was a rather moisture-starved, weak front. And right now, we're in the 80s for the most part. 82 in Claremont, 80 in Sanford. A little cooler near the beaches with that onshore flow. But temperatures running around 5 degrees above normal for this time of the year. Now, you have to weigh in because I, for one, am excited for this next cold front that's going to move in on Thanksgiving because it's going to bring us a little chill. It'll feel like the holidays if you're getting out and doing some shopping on Black Friday. So we'll certainly show you that forecast in a moment. But tonight, as temperatures dip toward the dew point with high pressure building in, that lighter wind could have some fog, especially for our northern and western locales across Marion County up into Alachua, Levy, and Dixie counties. Our Fox 51 locales essentially with lows in the upper 50s there. And then notice, tomorrow, we jump right back up into the low to mid 80s. The fog lifts, nice afternoon, actually a really nice amount of sunshine, which will be great for the parks, great for getting outside, great for really anything. Tina, you're watching from Walt Disney World. I'm jealous. I want to be watching from, well, I guess I wouldn't be watching, I'd be in Walt Disney World, but I love that you're watching in Walt Disney World. Now I have to ask you, if you don't have to share, but I want to know where you're watching from in Walt Disney World. Are you in the parks right now? Are you back at the hotel room chilling? Alec, Joe Burrow is starting for Cincinnati. Yeah, I saw that report just came out not too long ago that sadly I was hoping we're going to have to face Joe Flacco. I was hoping we were going to face Joe Flacco as a Ravens fan, but that is not going to be the case. You're from Louisville, Kentucky, Tina. Well, that's great. Are you in for the whole week? Oh, my gosh. You're at one of our favorite resorts, Caribbean Beach. About to head to Hollywood Studios. You'll have to ride Tower of Terror for me and Rock and Roller Coaster. That's awesome. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're watching. That's awesome. And Jollywood Nights, I'm even more jealous. You'll love it. Jollywood Nights is spectacular. It is such a fun. It feels like, honestly, the way it feels like you're going out to a friend's Christmas party. All right, Fox Local friends, about to take a quick break here. 2-minute break. If you want to not miss the conversation, hop on YouTube, hop on Facebook, and you can join in the conversation. Well, Tina, I hope you have an amazing week here. It's looking like a really nice week aside from that threat of a few showers on Thanksgiving. And again, that chance is pretty slim. So probably a jeans and maybe long sleeves day on Friday and Saturday. Maybe even Thanksgiving as well. Hi, Alice. How are you? Thanks for hopping on. Well, that's awesome. Well, it's looking like it's going to be a couple of days that will be above normal for our temperatures ahead of this cold front with the setup that we have in the atmosphere. So if you're a warm weather lover, you're not a cold weather fan, you'll be happy with what's in store for the next couple of days before this cold front moves in. While we're in the commercial break, Let me pull back up our question of the day if anyone is just hopping on. It is, are you cooking for Thanksgiving or are you going out for Thanksgiving? Now, cooking can mean a lot of things. Cooking can mean you're going to get some things catered in, kind of lower the hassle, lower the stress level just a little bit. Maybe you'll cook a couple sides. Maybe you'll have the turkey catered. Maybe you'll have something else catered. Cooking looks different for each and every one of us. So, but I can say that for my parents, I know that now that we're out of the house, my brother and I, my parents have gone out for Thanksgiving before. They've also cooked before. Some of our extended family have moved closer to them, so it looks like they'll have some a little cooking to do at my parents' house for Turkey Day. Alec, you're saying prediction is the Ravens will win the back and forth battle. Well, that's a heck of a score prediction. Wow, 45-42. Wow. I don't know. The Ravens have held, granted they haven't played playoff teams for the most part of the last handful of weeks, but they've held everybody they've played to less than 20 points. So that'd be interesting if we get into a big shootout with the Bengals. And we'll have to see. What do we have? We have the Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs, Cowboys, and, oh, goodness. Can't think of the other game on Thanksgiving. Can't think of it. If anyone knows, let me know. I can't think of it off the top of my head. All right, welcome back, Fox Local friends. If you're just joining us on Fox Local, you're watching Fox 35 Weather Plus. We're just discussing the question of the day. And you can't weigh in on Fox Local because we can't hear you. But if you hop on your phone or your laptop or your tablet, whatever the case may be, we will hear you loud and clear. You can weigh in and join the conversation. Well, let's get back to the weather. All right, we've already been talking about Walt Disney World. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. Look at this. 80s, above normal, pleasant. Going to be a really nice day to be out at the parks. You'll probably want to bring, I would hope you'd bring a ball cap and maybe throw on a little sunscreen because it's going to be bright out there. UV index going to be higher. So something to think about if you're getting out there. Or if you don't have any sunscreen, maybe you want to buy some. We'll have a little more cloud cover around for the afternoon, but overall we'll start off with a nice amount of sunshine. Lions and Packers. Thank you, Alec. I appreciate it. That's it. Lions and Packers. That'll probably be a pretty good game. William, Green Bay and Detroit. Thanks for coming to the rescue. I love it. I appreciate it. All right. And we're going to have a little more in-depth report from Brooks on our travel forecast here in our next block a little after 3:20. But here's the big picture. Here's the national travel forecast for Tuesday. And you can see this developing system across the northern tier of the nation. And this is going to bring the potential for a nice thump of snow. You can see across portions of Montana, the Dakotas, into Minnesota. Even around the Twin Cities, if you're traveling up to Minneapolis or St. Paul from the south, definitely want to monitor flight delays Tuesday into Wednesday. Now, the good news, which we'll show you in a moment, at least for Thanksgiving itself, if you're taking a flight then or you're hitting the road, much of the lower 48 not looking too crazy, but of course the travel days for many of us are ahead of Turkey Day. So you can see this cold front slicing through the Mid-South and the Deep South from portions of Louisiana, even Texas, back up into the Ohio Valley. Widespread rain, the potential for even some stronger storms. So something to think of if you're going to be hitting the road on Tuesday. Now, as we step into Thanksgiving Eve, that cold front is starting to move into the Panhandle. It's knocking on our doorstep in central Florida. Notice the rain, the threat of showers, and some rumbles all the way up into the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Highs in the 50s and 60s across New England, maybe even a little snow in northern Maine. Then the next system is already moving on shore, the Pacific Northwest, as we progress into Turkey Day. Cooler, quieter across the heartland, the plains, Denver to Albuquerque in the 50s, St. Louis only in the 40s, and then look at the snow coming down below freezing for highs on Wednesday. So it's quieter on Turkey Day, but leading up to Thanksgiving, certainly a little more active. And then for Thanksgiving itself, notice highs only in the 20s. Brutal. Brutal for the Twin Cities, close to freezing in Chicago. And then notice for us, that front starting to slice in on Thanksgiving. Highs only in the mid-70s likely, because we're, at least right now, looking at this frontal passage a bit earlier in the day on Thanksgiving. So temperatures a touch cooler, a little below normal, we're thinking on Thanksgiving, and the potential for a few showers. And then the chill really starts to grip us, really, in the southeast as we progress into Black Friday. So if you're planning on hitting the outlets, hitting the mall, hitting the stores, probably want to bundle up. And if you're watching us from afar, you can see how cold it's going to be across the heart of the country and in the north. William, going to some friends, eating pie and turkey. I love it, William. That's great. You're asking, do you think we will have a tropical storm on December 3rd? No, there's been some craziness shared on social media. There have been some model runs that have been shared, sadly. So no, we're not. Thankfully, we're about a week away from the end of hurricane season officially, and it's looking like we're going to end it on a quiet note. It's not to say that you can't have systems late in the year, but that's not the way things are looking right now, thankfully. So yeah, the whole storm team has been working on a write-up on this year's season, so you can definitely look forward to that as hurricane season winds down here over the next week. So this is the setup for Thanksgiving Day. Let's put it in motion here on our Fox weather model. So I fast forwarded the calendar to Wednesday. You can see some snow still up in the northern tier of the country, southern Canada, around the Great Lakes, as this cold front and whole system is swinging to the east, working eastbound. The potential for a couple showers for us. Then that cold front's getting through. High pressure is building in, and that modified Arctic air mass, still cool air, but Arctic air spilling in across the lower 48, and it's reaching us, and temperature is going to be a lot cooler than what we have today, what we had yesterday and over the weekend. We're going to be back below normal as we head into this upcoming weekend. So if you're wanting the chill, you'll be happy. The front clears, and Friday you can see beautiful, lots of sunshine, just cool, chilly. You'll probably need the jackets throughout the entirety of the day as high pressure builds in. Here's our Thanksgiving forecast, though, here across central Florida. Mid-70s, not much sun as the cold front moves in, with a couple of showers possible, and temperatures to the north of us going to be a heck of a lot cooler. We'll show you those numbers right now. You can see how below normal we will be. This is on Turkey Day, on Thanksgiving. Notice temperatures in the 30s and 40s across portions of Missouri, the Ozarks, into Illinois, Chicago around freezing. And you can see that cool air starts to infiltrate, and we're well below average, over 10 degrees really below normal as we progress into Friday, and then Saturday temperatures are going to slowly start to moderate. William, you're saying, where is your wife that was giving the weather with you on Saturday? So Hannah, God love her, she is not my wife. We can say we're a work husband and wife, but we are not actually husband and wife, William. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that comment. Yeah, we're work husband and wife. That's our weekend morning show team, our duo. All right, here's the forecast for Black Friday. All right, Fox Local friends, another break coming at you here in about 5 seconds. You can join us on YouTube and Facebook if you don't want to miss anything. Yeah, this is what's in store for Black Friday. Notice lots of sunshine, but temps in the 40s, and this is 7 in the morning. So if you're getting out even earlier, if you're hitting the stores, I don't even know what time stores open these days. I mean, I'm just happy that many of them now are closed on Thanksgiving, which is wonderful. So people can enjoy the holiday with their friends and families. But yeah, I would think if you're hitting the store at 4 or 5 in the morning, temperatures will likely be a touch cooler, low to mid 40s. So something to think about if you're hitting the stores a little bit early on Black Friday. But overall, it's going to be a pleasant day, just a cool one. And this is what we're looking at as we head through, at least locally speaking. Oh, and I feel bad. I forgot to move the turkey in the gift box. I apologize. But it's looking like we're going to monitor another storm system late in the holiday weekend into early next week. That might may bring us a sprinkle. Chances aren't all that high right now. But look at our temperatures: 60s on Friday, lows in the 40s and 50s as we approach our Saturday. But notice how quickly temperatures warm up. It's not a prolonged cold shot, but a cold shot nonetheless, with temperatures dropping 20 degrees from now into Black Friday. So a little shock to the system. Not as cold as what we had a few weeks back when we had the chill around for Halloween and our final week of October, but still chilly nonetheless. All right, I'm going to pull back up our question of the day. If anybody wants to weigh in, I haven't seen too many. I think Phyllis is still on. I think Phyllis may have been the only one that that weighed in on our question of the day. I want to know what you're doing. Let us know. Now, I have to say, the thing that I've always been known to bring to Friendsgivings, bring to Thanksgivings, I'm a green bean casserole fiend. Welcome back, Fox Local friends. Yeah, I love green bean casserole. That was always my go-to. If someone said, "What are you bringing for Thanksgiving?" I'm like, I got the green bean casserole. TJ's got the green bean casserole. William, that is Noah. Noah's in the storm center with me. He's working on the forecast that you'll see for this evening at 5, 6, 10, and 11. William, Green Bay and Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. Yes, first game at 12:30. Yes. All right. Well, right now it's 3:22, and what I want to do is I want to get on over to Brooks, and he can talk a little more about what's in store for the rest of our Thanksgiving week, travel-wise and weather-wise.
Here we are on Thanksgiving week, and travel is the only concern for so many, and the weather is going to be just integral for that travel to be successful. So what is the weather going to be like around the country? Well, the good news is that we don't have any major storm systems that are going to cause major issues, but there are a couple of areas to watch, one of them being the deep south as well as the Gulf Coast for the day tomorrow. We've got a front that's going to be moving east. This is going to be a front that ultimately brings in some cooler air to Florida for Thanksgiving Day and Black Friday, but ahead of it a couple of showers. Now, I'm not looking at anything with this system that's going to cause any kind of major issues, but as you go farther north, things will start to change a little bit. On the northern edge of this thing, up around Chicago and Indianapolis, we'll have a couple of showers around, maybe enough to cause some delays in places like Louisville, St. Louis, and Nashville with some heavier rains, kind of like the delays we saw on Monday around Dallas with the heavy rain. That, by the way, the heavy rain on Monday morning in Dallas, it led to delays and cancellations of hundreds of flights, so it was a really big deal. That system's moving east. Meanwhile, in the Pacific Northwest, there's even more vigorous system moving into Seattle and Portland. This one producing a lot of heavy rain for the lower elevations, but up in the Cascades, it could get really heavy snow and slush, like in Snoqualmie Pass. They've already got special rules for trucks going over the pass there along the interstate. And meanwhile, in the upper Midwest, this is going to be the big weather impact as far as travel goes. We're looking at a big snow event. Big surprise, right? For North Dakota, oh geez, as well as Minnesota and northern Wisconsin on the lee of Lake Superior, especially, where upwards of 1 foot to 2 feet of snow could fall. So kidding aside, I mean, this is going to be, you know, we can handle rain, right, for driving and all that stuff and flying, but Minneapolis is going to be on the edge of this thing, probably like 4 to 6 inches of snow, enough to make it look like Christmas time, how appropriate, but definitely to make for a cold Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, rainfall, that's not much of an issue. Snowfall is, and when you have the northwest flow over the lakes, you can get little spots here catching like 24 inches of snow, while most other areas get more like 6 to 8 inches. This is all just kind of an exotic concept from our perch here in Florida, but still, there are a lot of people that have a lot of family in different places and maybe doing that kind of travel. Elsewhere, let's talk about the Northeast, where a lot more people in Florida have friends, family, or maybe you're from there and you're heading back that way for Thanksgiving. The system's going to bring scattered rain, some showers, dreary conditions tomorrow night, Tuesday night, into the day Wednesday, and some more snow in the Great Lakes. But otherwise, by the time we get to Thanksgiving, you wouldn't believe it, most of the country is going to clear out and be beautiful. The exception is going to be here in Florida. That front finally makes it into central Florida, and in doing so brings a chance for some showers to the region around midday on Thanksgiving. Not enough to cause any major issues, but it's going to be dreary. It's going to look different outside. It won't be as sunny, and it will get a lot cooler. In fact, after the 80s for the first half of the week, we're barely going to get out of the low 70s on Thanksgiving. And then on Black Friday, it's going to be even cooler than that. We're not going to get out of the low 60s on Black Friday. Now, this is a brief visit of cooler air because while we're going to have a lot of warm air out ahead of this, we get a lot of cool air as this moves through for Thursday, Friday. Look how fast the warm weather comes back to Florida. So as you're traveling back home, once again, no issues departing Florida. But if you're going up north, let me tell you, it's going to be cold in Chicago, for instance. Thanksgiving, it's always the season of transition. Some years you can get hugely impactful storm systems affecting the major hubs. Not this year. It's going to be pretty quiet as far as that goes, but there will be some snow interruptions across the northern tier of the upper Midwest and across the Northwest. Well, that's a wrap on some of this Thanksgiving weather. We'll hone in as it becomes more clear through the week, but the takeaway here for Florida, it'll be a warm Thanksgiving week followed by a briefly cooler stint for Black Friday. Back to you.
Thanks, Brooks. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a really wintry, I just said that to Noah, it's going to be a wintry go for the northern tier of the country. So if you're heading up there to visit friends and family, certainly something to monitor. I can throw back up our travel forecast here real fast for Tuesday and Wednesday. You can see that snow, and he was just talking about that. Certainly going to be a cold Thanksgiving Eve. Look at the snow wrapping around that low there across portions of Iowa. My old stomping grounds. For those of you that don't know, I worked in Sioux City, Iowa, and I feel like, heck, we had snow on Halloween one time. So it's definitely going to be a wintry setup for portions of the Dakotas, Montana, Iowa, and you can see that snow working into portions of Wisconsin as well. And as we head through time, look at that cold front slicing through. It's the same one that's going to bring us the cooler conditions here as we head through our day on Thanksgiving. 84 ahead of the cold front on Wednesday on Thanksgiving Eve. And then as we progress through our Turkey Day, temperatures are dropping. Highs only in the 70s to our northwest. Check out Atlanta, only in the 50s. Norfolk, New York, 40s. You can see that snow still across eastern Canada and the Great Lakes. I'm sure we'll get the lake effect snow machine cranking a little bit with the wind behind this storm system. So wintry there, a little more wintry for us here locally speaking, but nothing we can't handle. It's going to be a slightly unsettled Thanksgiving for us. The potential for a couple showers, but certainly not a washout, but cooler than normal. Belinda, how are you? Hello to you in Kissimmee. Thanks for hopping on and watching on YouTube. Let me make sure I'm not missing any other comments here. Pull back up Facebook real fast before we close down our Monday edition of Fox 35 Weather Plus. You're saying William, you're saying you and Brooks look like brothers. I'm sure Brooks would love to hear that. I'm going to tell him you said that when I see him next. I'll probably see him. I might not see him till next week. I might not see him till December, which is crazy. All right. Well, we hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day. It's just about 3:30 here on a Monday. Make sure you join Noah, Luann, I should say Noah, John, and Amy. Is that right? No, I know we have Amy on.
Tonight we do?
I think we have Amy working tonight.
Really?
I so it's a little surprise. I just don't know who. I remember seeing a message come through, but
Nice.
nonetheless, make sure you join Noah for the latest. And at 5 and 6, drummer Lisa here at 4 o'clock on the 407. And I'll be on at 8, and Noah will be back at 10 and 11 for all the latest. But we'll see you tomorrow, and hope you have a great rest of your day. If we don't see you before Thanksgiving, have a great Thanksgiving.